I wanted to ask you, David, if you're in an accident, obviously you're going to be frazzled, maybe you're not really focused. How can people prepare just to have a couple of notes, just to be prepared in advance on what they can do, if the first thing that they can do when they're in an accident?
Sure. Well, when you get involved in an accident, there's a lot of emotions, both physical injury and emotional injuries that someone goes through, as well as shock of being involved in an accident. It's a very traumatizing type of event. Number one, you should make sure you're okay, and I would call the police. Number two, I would go to the hospital, nearest hospital, with the complaints that you have of your injuries. Make sure at the scene you write down any witnesses that might have observed the accident. Get their name, phone number, so that the investigators can get statements from them at a later time. And make sure that you take pictures at the scene. Most people have the cell phones today, so take good pictures of the damage to the cars.
Right. Now, at what point do you say, hey, I really should call an attorney?
You should really call an attorney as soon as possible, so that any evidence that is either left at the scene or created at the scene is preserved for time of court. And that also means the person that hit you, a letter should go out to the other side to tell them not to destroy the car, not to get rid of the car. I'm handling a case right now that the car, the claim is the defendant hit into us, caused significant damage, and they're claiming that there was a defective steering wheel or ball joint. That's when you want to get an expert, hire an expert right away to investigate what the cause of the breakdown of the car was, to preserve your right at time of trial.
Wow. And then, really, how do you find a good attorney? How do you know what's a good one, what's not?
That's a very good question. I usually get most of my cases through word of mouth. People that either have seen me on trial, through results I've gotten through clients. You can go on the internet, ask your friends, call up bar associations. But I'll tell you, hard work and perseverance always pays off, and we've done a great job with our clients for the last 30 to 40 years at the Sanders firm.
Now, at the Sanders firm, you're called upon all the time because many attorneys don't handle trials. So is that something that you want to ask? When do you know if there's going to be a trial or not?
Right. Well, we always prepare every single case like we're going to trial, and that means it's like building a house. If you start with a good foundation, the house will stand for many years. If you have a shoddy foundation, the house will start to fall, crumble. And what happens with a lot of law firms today, they may get cases. The problem is they don't have the expertise or the time or the money to put into each case. And one of the glaring defects I see from a lot of law firms is if we have a case, we get an expert right away. We get an expert, so they examine the evidence, get the facts, and they write a report, and that usually puts the defendant on the defensive.